Right, guys, welcome to the first FarleyTV Podcast. This is groundbreaking stuff, mate, because this is me being me. I can talk about, I'm a football obsessive, so we're going to talk loads of footy. Steve, welcome, mate.
Thank you very much.
You're my first guest on the show. Very handsome, Spanishy looking guy. That's what I wanted. I want handsome people on the show.
This is actually just the sunbeds. It's got nothing to do with Spain. But
Are sunbeds still going?
I've got to say, you're looking quite well yourself. 13 years, we were just saying there, 13 years working together.
Yeah.
Every year you've lost another stone.
I didn't want to talk about it, but obviously the weight loss journey, running up mountains with me top off, just doing loads of weight. I've been saying about Man City for a long time, like, look, this team's one of the best in the Prem, and I've always gone, it's always like missing something. They're a great team, but when Aguero went, I always felt like they haven't really got like that. There's just something missing, something not there, mate. I watched the game, and it's like a penny dropping, but you know, like a painful penny dropping, where you go, and any Liverpool fans watching it, even Man United fans, or anyone, Arsenal especially this season, but I was just like, these are going to dominate. These are going to dominate, because it doesn't matter. People can talk about Kevin De Bruyne, people can talk about Erling Haaland, Bernardo Silva, mate, every position. Pep Guardiola, you look at Jack Grealish, and I look at him and go, I like Jack Grealish. I think he's a brilliant player. I think people, because he went for 100 mil, I think people were going like, oh, he's 100 mil, he's not worth 100 mil. Mate, he's £100 million. Yeah. Guardiola is just what he's done with him as a player.
Especially the second half of this season, he just looks like a totally different player, doesn't he? He's looked like he's finally slotted into that team. Looks absolutely brilliant.
He looks brilliant though because of the hairband. You know what I mean? You know, the way he just looks like just a pair of flip-flops on.
Continental.
Yeah, just dead chilled, like
suited for the Champions League. But this season, I think, because you've got the likes of Newcastle, Arsenal. You know, it looked like it was going to be Arsenal all along, didn't it?
Unbelievable, mate.
But they just pull it out to the park every time, and I think this season is the big one for them, isn't it, with the treble?
Yeah, I think in any other team, if you're Arsenal and any other teams coming for you, I don't think you'd feel the pressure that much. I think with City, and to be fair to Gary Neville, I think he said it when like Arsenal were like 15 points clear. Might have been about 12 or 15, and he come out and said City will win the league, and everyone was laughing. But they've got that mentality, mate. I was watching them in games going, they're just going to win every game. They're going to win every game, but I can't believe that it's almost like, I just feel like the gap now. You know, obviously being a Liverpool fan, as you were saying before, mate, you've got Liverpool, all that Liverpool City thing, and then all of a sudden you've got all these teams now who are kind of catching up. It doesn't matter how many teams are catching up. I just think no one, and you know, feel free, any of the viewers, to let us know what you think on this one as well. But I just feel like nobody is going to challenge Man City. They're just too good. You've got to look at last season, Liverpool, right? You look at last season and you go, I think Liverpool had, I can't remember how many points they had, but it must have been like 90. I could be way off here, but I'm thinking late 90s. Liverpool had an unbelievable season. That really could have been classed as one of the greatest seasons in a football club. They nearly won 4 trophies. They were 2 games away from winning everything.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever done that? I don't know if anyone's actually ever done that in history. And still, in the Premier League particularly, I know it was different with the Champions League, but still never won the league. You can have a season like that and still not win the league. But City have went and improved off that. Last season, I wouldn't even go, who was their main man up front? Did he even have a striker last season?
Yeah, but obviously Haaland's come in, he's done unbelievable, hasn't he? Scary player. But I mean, even it looks like all the other players around them have also like upped the game as well, doesn't it? As you're saying there, Grealish, you've got De Bruyne. It's just always.
You could even talk about like a Kanji, a left back, Nathan Ake, John Stones, centre mid. John Stones, it's like watching Xabi Alonso, just dictating the game. You're going, I'm going to make you a centre half. Don't get me wrong, I've always liked him, but all of a sudden you're looking at these players now and you're going, they have got top draw in every position, no matter what.
And the bench as well.
But on the Haaland thing, mate, we will move on from Man City soon because it just hurts me. Haaland, mate, what's your feelings, real or robot?
He looks like a robot. He does look like he could potentially be from another planet.
If you painted them blue avatar type of vibes.
Definitely. But I think just that lad has got absolutely everything you could ever wish for in his game, hasn't he? He's just an unbelievable player, and I don't actually. He makes it look that easy.
Yeah.
There's other players that look like they have to try a bit more. I mean, even you look at Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Unbelievable player.
Yeah.
But it's like he's had to work at it and work at it and work at it to get to that, especially in the early days like Man United.
Defo.
But you look at Haaland and he's done it from like such an early age, hasn't he? And it's just getting better and better all the time.
I think it's the power. It's what he does.
Yeah.
You're talking about like these big centre-arse lads who like, I'm not being funny, the strong lads who won't just be pushed off a ball. He's bullying them. And he's only young, isn't he? Like, what is he? How old is he? 20, 21? I think
he is only around that, yeah.
It's the power. How can you be that big but that fast?
Yeah.
How can all those things like come together? I genuinely just go, I don't know how you can cope with a player like that. He is just, when you add something when you've got something that's so special at a club like that, what do you do? And then to bring someone like him in, because people were talking about Harry Kane for a bit, weren't they?
Yeah.
People were saying, go and get Harry Kane. And then Harry Kane rang Pep and said, obviously, please let me come, let me sign. And then Pep's turned around and gone, but Harry, I've got a younger, fitter, cheaper alternative who's going to score 52 goals. And it's like unbelievable. Nah, look, you said before, and you were spot on, mate, Guardiola, he improves players. He really does, though. All this kind of like, you bought the league, blah, blah, blah. You've seen it with Eddie Howe at Newcastle. Look what he's done. We'll get into that in a bit, mate. But these coaches, I've never seen anyone like Guardiola. If you look at like Fergie at Man United, he'd just go and buy a top player and he'd just go do
and
what
every season that top player would win the league.
Top it up, exactly, mate. Just top it up. And you could even, I suppose, like you could even, it's different with Liverpool. Liverpool have had to kind of work a lot harder.
But Liverpool over the last few seasons, last 6 seasons, they bought cheap players and turned them into superstars.
It's unbelievable, mate.
So they've been unbelievable in the market, haven't they?
Yeah.
But it's this, I mean, even now you look at like, Núñez was being compared, weren't they, before the start of the season with Haaland.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, he's a very, he's a talented player in some respects, but he does miss a lot of chances. He does make the wrong decision at times.
Yeah.
Whereas Haaland is just, it's so aggressive, innit? It's just game in, game out.
There's no one you can go and get on the planet who's going to be able to do for you what Haaland. I mean, look, mate, we'll move on now. We'll move on to like the Liverpool thing, because you said it there. I always laugh at the Mo Salah critics, mate. I just can't get my head around. You know, when you hear people going, he's hot and cold. Mo Salah, mate, his numbers are through the shit. That fella is a Liverpool great. Yeah. Already, though. He's already going to be put next to Dalglish, Gerrard. I don't care what anyone says.
It's mad. Last season, I think, the second half of last season, he didn't look like he was scoring at all, did he? No. He was having like a bit of a bad time. Well, it looked like he was having a bit of a bad time, but obviously his assists were still there and his stats were still adding up. But the majority of his goals came in the first half of the season, and that just is even more impressive. The fact, I think he finished joint top goal scorer, didn't he?
Yeah.
And to score the majority of your goals in the first half of the season, hardly anything in the second half, it just doesn't make sense how you can still be top goal scorer.
I think the problem, mate, you've got as well is like sometimes when someone's set the standard there, the bar is that high with a player like that. What we paid for him, I don't think any of us, we're sitting here having this conversation now, mate, and he scored like, I don't know the exact number, but it's a crazy amount of goals.
But you just look at what he'd done at Chelsea, just literally nothing, and then, since then, you would never expect him to be one of the world's greatest players.
But Mourinho had him and De Bruyne and said both of them aren't good enough, but Mourinho's a top gaffer, top manager. Do you know what I mean? Crazy. Come on. If you can't coach, and you see the difference in that mentality. But
you go back to what's it called as well. You just touched on it before about Alex Ferguson.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
Jose Mourinho there. Klopp.
Tony Pulis.
Roy Hodgson, he's got to be up for it now.
Mate.
He's come in.
These are things we will get onto.
Yeah.
But
you're looking at going back to Alex Ferguson. Yeah. Do you think it was a different time back then that the Premier League come on so much?
Yeah.
The pace of the game.
Yeah.
The players, the skill, everything.
Can I be honest with you though, mate? I preferred that, you know. I think back to the Prem. Don't get me wrong, I do love this Premier League. I love football. I love the way it's advanced. I get why teams are playing out and doing what they're doing. But that needle's gone. You know, all the hugging in the tunnel, and I can't get my head around. Like that Man United Arsenal rivalry. Do you remember that game years ago? Neville, Roy Keane and Vieira in the tunnel before. They were scrapping in the tunnel before the game. Yeah. As a fan watching that. Even like the Chelsea-Liverpool, the Rafa, Mourinho rivalry.
You just love violence, don't you?
Well, it's because of all the Evertonians who keep filling me in on the streets. I've had to get
I was
going to
say, I'm surprised that we actually managed to get you here today.
We'll get on to Everton, but we'll
get out your bedroom.
Everton, they're positive about themselves, you know. Don't get filled in. Yeah, but if you put this Guardiola team, I still think they'd clean up. But it'd be different if you're coming up against a Man United team with the likes of Keane, Beckham, Ronaldo,
I watched the clip on Manchester United against Wimbledon back in the day, and what's his name, Vinnie Jones did some of the challenges that he was putting in on Roy Keane. Roy Keane was petrified, and I thought to myself, that's what you're talking about now. You wouldn't get none of that now, because that's what teams would have done to the likes of Man City. Yeah,
that's the only way you stop them. So but it's one of them. If you put Ferguson in this era. We had a little chat before, didn't we, off camera, about like managers as well. So like, if you think about old school managers, if you think about like a Brian Clough, a Shanks, a Fergie, those types of managers now in this era of the Premier League, I don't know whether they'd be able to cut it. And what I mean by cut it, the great managers, obviously, but I don't think they could deal with these players. You know the way the game's changed now, the social media thing, and the way players are wearing headphones going into games, and you know, some players aren't getting stuck in. I don't know whether these managers would be classed as probably like bullies if they spoke down to the players or had a go with the players. And I just go, wonder. I'd love to just like morph the two, you know, like bring like one of those managers back and go
to see what happens.
Well, you know, you said it before, Roy Hodgson has come back.
Yeah, I mean, Roy Hodgson, I think he should be manager of the year, shouldn't he?
Well, of course I should, Steve. I'm a very good manager, aren't I? Of course, I've done very good with Crystal Palace, so you're a very good team. I am 164 years of age, Steve.
It's unbelievable, though, isn't it? You get someone like him.
I'm unbelievable, Steve.
I was shocked when they actually brought him back in after getting rid of him, because I thought that is such an unusual phone call to have, isn't it? It's like, hi, Roy, I know we sacked you last season, but we're just wondering whether you can help save us.
Yeah. But, mate, you know what's funny about it? Right, do you know what's so funny about it? Again, we'll get onto all this stuff later on, like the relegation stuff. I think there's almost going to be like a new thing where older managers are coming into jobs, like from like April to the end of the season. Almost, you know, like Neil Warnock's gone to Huddersfield, smashed it. Roy Hodgson's gone to Crystal Palace, smashed it.
Yeah. Frank Lampard went to Chelsea.
He did smash it, but he just smashed the season up into pieces, basically.
I do feel sorry for him, though.
Do you know what, Lampard, right? You can't blame him, can you? You think about it, right? He's sacked from Everton. You know, understandably sacked from Everton, but that was a tough job. Anyone, even with Sean Dyche, Carlo Ancelotti, Rafa Benitez, whoever the Benitez one was destined to fail. We'll get on to Everton later on. I feel like with Lampard, he's obviously sat there. Think about it, he's just at home, just talking to his missus, going, yeah, you might make a cup of tea. You got a bit of toast as well, but now, serious, don't put too much butter on it. You know, one of those types of things. And then, like, she's just gone. And then Christine's obviously gone, Frank, I'm on the phone for you. I don't know why it was...
What the hell? That's an unbelievable accent, that.
I know.
Christine, I didn't know you'd done it.
Was that Russian? But anyway, imagine... But Lampard, then Todd Bowley's got on the blower. And he said to Lampard, look, Frank, I need someone to come in for 8 games. They had the Champions League quarter-final coming up. He could have transformed his career. So if they'd have won them games, he'd have got a couple of good results. All of a sudden, he's a good manager again. But he didn't win them games.
Yeah.
He didn't win has he won one game? I think he's won one game.
Yeah.
One game. And look, Graham Potter had the same problem. But you think about Frank Lampard and you go, I don't think he's a terrible manager. I just think even when he was at Everton, he was playing the wrong type of football. Sean Dyche is playing the right type of football now. I mean, if this goes out, we don't know what's going on with Everton.
But he's also managed 2 teams there which they haven't been the strongest teams, have they, at all?
No, it's a tough job, mate. Tough job.
It's a tough job for anyone, but if you look at his career so far as a manager, it's not looking the greatest, really, is it?
No. Do you know what I was thinking, right? Similar to what Steven Gerrard done. And I'm not just saying like, Scottish football, like, anyone can just go in. But I think if he went to like a Rangers or a Celtic, he'd do really well, you know, Lampard. Just get his reputation up. Brendan Rodgers did it. I do like Brendan Rodgers. I think he's a really good coach, to be honest with you. Steven Gerrard done it as well. It done him good. He got a massive job at Aston Villa. Failed miserably. But you can see people using that as like a bit of a stepping stone. Do you get what I mean?
But he was doing all right at Derby County though, wasn't he, Frank Lampard?
Because I think with Frank Lampard, I think it would have been better for him to kind of stay at that level for a bit longer. Yeah. But obviously, mate, if Chelsea come knocking at your door,
you're not going to turn it down.
You're not going to say no, are you? You never know when that opportunity's got to come up again.
But this is football, though, because we always talk about the merry-go-round of football managers. Yeah. And, you're talking about the likes of Big Sam and you're talking about Roy Hodgson.
Yeah.
Frank Lampard has suddenly been thrown into the mix over the last few years. But it's unbelievable when you look at it like in any other job.
Yeah.
You get sacked. You're not walking straight into another job. But in football, you're getting a massive payoff. And within a few weeks, you're back into another job with a different club. So he goes to Chelsea. Didn't do too bad at Chelsea. Yeah. Ends up getting sacked. Goes to Everton. Absolutely awful, really. Gets sacked.
But, go on, mate. Sorry.
And then ends up back at Chelsea for a bit.
Yeah.
And it's just, if you look at someone's CV, and you look at, and the stats, if you look at his stats, then they're absolutely terrible, aren't they, for the last 20
but
games?
He's a really nice fella.
No, he's a great guy.
No, but this is what, it's funny because I hear loads of Evertonians say it, and I know exactly what they're saying. I think that, like, he was the right man at the right time for Everton. Do you get what I mean? He got the fans united. He did do a brilliant job last season with them, but then what happened was the season after, they realised that he just wasn't a very good football manager. From their point of view, they were like, oh my God, what? Because it was, but... Well, I want to touch on Everton now, if that's all right. So be prepared, okay?
This is the bit that's going to get edited out.
Basically, none of this will be used, No, but if you fail at Everton, right, is that actually like a mark on your CV, right? Because who doesn't fail at Everton? And I know what I mean is...
You look at some of the top managers that have been there.
Yeah, you've had Roberto Martinez, who done quite well, didn't he? But classed as a failure. Marco Silva. I mean, look what he's doing now with Fulham. Again, no, look, Everton, and I will say it probably, but Everton's a lot of a bigger club than Fulham. You're under pressure, there's more expectation. There's no pressure going to Fulham. If Marco Silva got like the Tottenham job or the Everton job again, he'd probably fail again because you're under pressure. If Fulham get beat 3-0 at home by Bournemouth, Marco Silva's not going to have people getting him in an headlock outside the ground.
Yeah.
But at Goodison, that's what would probably happen. Do you get what I mean? So Ancelotti, right? Carlo Ancelotti, what a manager. But Carlo Ancelotti works with already developed. He's just a boss man manager. What's he going to do with Tom Davis?
Yeah.
Do you know, Rafa Benitez, I know that was never going to work, Rafa Benitez, but it's another top manager. How many managers, though? In the end,
to be honest with you, for me, the best manager that I've seen, obviously you've got David Moyes, who was there for years, but then after that, the best football I've ever seen Everton play was under Roberto Martinez.
Unbelievable, mate. From an outsider's point of view, because I've spoke to a few Evertonians about it, and I think what happens is, in this football world that we live in, people just love change. People just go out, and he had a bad season. I think the recruitment was bad and he brought in a couple of dodgy players, but that's the only time I've seen Everton play good football.
Yeah, definitely.
He never played it under Moyes, but Moyes got results, you know what I mean?
Because Roberto Martinez had a similar sort of style of players as Brendan Rodgers at the time. The mad thing was they were unbelievable in attack.
Yeah.
You know, attacking, but they couldn't close games down. And defend.
It's like...
It was like they couldn't switch the style of play.
With them, mate, it's an identity problem that they've got, right? I think Everton's identity is the one. I think they've got the right manager now for what Everton are at the moment. Because all you'll ever hear is Evertonians now. It seems like they forget, because what happens is they get like a Marco Silva, a Roberto Martinez, all this footy, it's about results, blah, blah, blah. But then when you go and get your Rafa Benitez's, when you go and get your Sean Dyche's, it's big Sam Allardyce, who I want to touch on him as well in a bit if we can, mate. because he deserves a bit more respect on his name for me. But those managers, it's like, oh, it's awful football. We need a young manager, a progressive manager. So the two of them go against each other. So you're like, well, what do you want? Do you want to be dead solid and dead boring, or do you want to be playing attacking football that comes with risk? Everton don't know what they want. I think Everton are one of those, they've got to be a horrible team.
But they've tried, haven't they? You can't say they haven't tried.
Exactly.
They've brought in some of the best managers.
The fans weren't happy with it, mate. That's my point. The fans were like, we're not happy with this. I look at them and I go, I feel like it's almost like the saying before with Sean Dyche, even though, like, okay, he's pigeonholed, isn't he, as one of these types of managers who plays the game quite sort of pigeonholed in that Big Sam, Tony Pulis, old school type of manager. But I think he's like the right manager for them. I think he's the right manager for them. I think the way he plays the game, he's a better manager than what people think. Do you know what I mean? But he's come into a club. He's come into a situation where there's riots going on, there's protests going on.
Yeah.
The board can't even turn up at the match. I don't think he's had a striker available, has he? Like for like three months. How are you supposed to? I can't believe Everton. I mean, look, again, this goes out probably after Everton could be up, down, I don't know, but I can't believe they're even in the fight to stay in the Premier League, because I look at them and I go, you know what? Honestly, watching them, and I don't mean this as a dig at Everton, but they're probably one of the worst teams. After Southampton, I'd probably say they're the worst team in the league, because they don't score goals. They don't score goals. Listen, they've got some really good players. Jordan Pickford gets loads of stick, mate. I think Jordan Pickford's top draw. So yeah. I don't get the Jordan Pickford thing. You know, this like, why is he England's number one, mate? I think he's
probably brilliant. If it wasn't for him, they'd already be down.
Yeah, I honestly don't get it. It's a weird. You've got Ramsdale, Nick Pope, but
that game against Newcastle last week or the week before
with the Brighton one.
No, Newcastle Everton.
Oh yeah.
The way they just danced around the Everton defence, it was shocking. No one was sticking the foot out or getting stuck in.
But then, mate, you see that, and then you go to Brighton, and I'm sitting there on my couch with my popcorn, like, oh my God, this is going to be 10-0 to Brighton. And I'm just gobsmacked, because I just thought, oh my God.
You've got it in you.
No wonder, though. Yeah. If you're an Evertonian, no wonder you're like, what's going on?
It's up and down, roller coaster ride. Then.
Yeah, I thought, you can understand the frustration, you get what I mean? Because you watch that, you'd almost be half angry, even though you'd be buzzing.
Because you think you can do that.
How can you do that and then go and play?
Don't get me wrong, like Newcastle are absolutely flying.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone was expecting any different results, but I think
it was more just the sort of the work rate of Everton. I think that was what was missing, and the desire to want to win. Looked like they'd given up in that game.
Yeah. I know what you mean, mate, but it's consistency in it. It's consistency.
But they obviously have got in it. But I think the man to do it, I think it is Sean Dyche. I think he could definitely he can get them to stay.
He doesn't get emotionally involved, right? And that's what he needs. Like, Frank Lampard, he did do a great job, but on the pitch, doing all
you were saying
stuff.
Before about having like tough managers from like yesteryear.
Yeah.
He is that type of guy, isn't he?
No nonsense, but also not like in my opinion, not a yes man either. They need that type of manager. I'm sure like a lot of Evertonians probably, not saying don't relate to him, but they'll probably go, he's not really our type of manager, but he is though. He's Everton's type of manager. He's the right man for this time. Don't get me wrong, in the future, look at what Brighton have done with the Zerbi. They deserve to be where they are, by the way. But you look at like, you understand everyone, that's a blueprint for what you want to do. But Southampton were Brighton about 4 years ago. Southampton are down now.
Yeah.
Those players won't remake. Brighton are doing a brilliant job, they are, don't get me wrong. But if you're Everton, forget about challenging for Europe and forget about going into and doing all these great things. Just stay in the league.
Look at Leicester.
Oh, mate.
How many years ago was it they won the league?
Oh my God, I can't
6
believe
years
it.
ago, something like that.
I can't believe, and again, looks like they're going down. It really does look like they're going down, bar any type of crazy miracle. But you can't believe what you're watching. But I think Brendan Rodgers did a great job there. A great job. But he started getting a little bit of stick off the fans. When you just as an outsider going, hang on, you won the FA Cup. You nearly got in the Champions League. Why should Leicester be? I know they won the league a couple of years ago. That was a crazy fluke. They deserved it. It was a crazy fluke. So forget about that.
Yeah.
To be challenging with City, the two of the greatest sides the Prem's ever seen, City, Liverpool. Then you've got your Chelsea spending all kinds, Tottenham's, Arsenal's or whoever. To be competing for the top four, that's unbelievable. I do like Brendan Rodgers as a coach. I think he's brilliant. But to do all that and then to have a little bit of a blip, and then, all of a sudden the fans want you gone.
Though, isn't it? The fans are the expectancy. I think that's what it is. They start to expect a certain level every single game.
But winning that league has kind of took them in a false perspective, if you know what I mean.
Don't get me wrong, everybody wants to see the team win week in, week out. But what would Brendan Rodgers say to the second?
I was very disappointed, Steve. I was very proud to be there. Some beautiful human beings. But then the Leicester City supporters, started, throwing things at my head outside the stadium. It wasn't very nice there because, of course, I'd just been and got my Botox. So when someone threw a cabbage there at the side of my face there, I had to go and get a new instalment, and it's £3,000 to go. So I was very disappointed.
That cabbage was actually aimed at Steve Bruce, though.
Oh yeah, I know other managers get it, but Steve Bruce deserves it. I'm a top coach. So, it was disappointing, Steve, but I'm hoping to get a much bigger job than Leicester because I've heard Accrington Stanley are in the market. So,
and is Steve Bruce going to come back?
Well, I'm not sure, Steve. I don't know. I'm not sure. The Newcastle job was very difficult. And I said, whoever goes in after me will realise just how difficult it is. And it is very difficult. And Eddie Howe's really struggled there. He can't believe he hasn't won the Champions League in his first season. That's a disgrace. But, I think, what do I want to do? Do I want to go into a football club and get cabbages through at me head? Or do I want to just sit off in me flip-flops on me balcony in me Portuguese mansion with 14 doner kebabs lined up? I tell you what, option number 2 works for me, Steve.
I'll tell you what, though, it's this Eddie Howe, what he's done at Newcastle.
What?
Because when the Saudis took over,
yeah,
I just thought to myself, wow, then now what are they the richest club?
Mate, yeah, one off, yeah.
And I just thought to myself, they're going to go out now. It's going to be a statement. They're going to get a manager in that's like, proper wow factor.
Well, he went for Unai Emery. And Unai Emery, he must not be regretting it because he's doing an amazing job at Villa. But Unai Emery, I don't think he was convinced. Like, he probably thought, well, maybe I'll take that down the line. But I think when Eddie Howe got it, it was almost, if Eddie Howe's name was Edberto Howardio, right, he would be getting the City job. He'd probably be getting the Man United job.
But apparently Unai Emery couldn't understand the Geordies. Not that they couldn't understand them.
But is it scary and random the way I'm just doing that off the cuff? It's just weird, isn't it?
Keep it going. The weirdest one was Christine, Frank's missus.
Yeah. Is she from Russia? with a bit of wigging in.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, he's done. But when it was announced that they were getting Eddie Howe,
it was almost like
that's a bit of a shock. But
yeah,
he's been the perfect man for the job, hasn't he? The way he's got them playing.
What a coach, mate. What a coach. What he done at Bournemouth was amazing. But I think people thought, like, well, it's a bit different doing that. Working not. You're under less pressure, aren't you? I remember, honestly, mate, right? I remember listening to a podcast, and Eddie Howe being linked with the Everton job. And you were like, oh, mate, this is where we've got to. Eddie Howe, getting linked with Eddie Howe. Oh, this is what we're championship team. And you know what? Sometimes, mate, managers don't. I'll go on to a different thing now off the back of this, mate. But some managers, I don't know where they get this reputation from. Because Eddie Howe got relegated in one season, despite bringing Bournemouth up 15 divisions on a £25 budget. Forget about that. He got relegated. So he's a terrible manager. This Roberto De Zerbi, I think he's been sacked 11 times before he got the Brighton job. Now he's the greatest coach in the world. Managers get sacked, he learn. That's how it works. But those managers probably get linked with the Everton job and go like, you know what, I'm the man to change them. When you get like a bad boy and the girl goes, I'm going to change him, type of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Can't.
That's what most girls I was with.
Next minute, they're crying into the pillow. He just couldn't. He just
5
couldn't
minutes later, crying into the pillow. Go, what have I done?
And that's just Frank Lampard.
Yeah, but look, Steve, when I first went to Everton, I was rewarded. You know what I mean? I thought I went in a real man. I can go in, be a real tough man. Straight away, I knew straight away, mate, that, this club's weird. It's a weird club. And when I took my wife down, doing a tour, and she goes outside to have a fack, and the next minute, she's in a bloody headlock, and Everton fans got in an headlock. And the weird thing was, it was Duncan Ferguson. I'm like, oh, come on, mate, just because I never give you a job. You know what I mean? So it's a tough job, it really is.
And what do you think about Duncan Ferguson as well? Because I know we were talking about Everton quite a bit, but what do you think? Why wouldn't you just give Duncan Ferguson a go?
Well, the problem is, I want to be the hardest man at Everton. I'm a real man.
Sorry,
I'm also the club's head bouncer as well.
I was talking to Darren Farley.
Sorry, see you later.
So anyway, I think, mate, you know what, Ferguson, I think he left, I think he left of his own accord, Ferguson. I think that he
must have known he wasn't going to get given an opportunity.
But he shouldn't have got the Everton job. On what basis, mate?
Should give the fans what they want.
What, League Two? Because he doesn't. No. But to be fair, listen, Duncan Ferguson, mate, right, is probably a great coach, probably a really good coach, and the fans love him. But sometimes that doesn't work for you. I've seen Rooney link with the Everton job, and you go, but you're going to damage your reputation.
Yeah, but how good would that be? Not for Everton, just for the sketches.
But it wouldn't be good for my, physical health, because of, I'd have the Evertonians, the whole of the Rooney family, and just basically everyone trying to get me. No,
it must be hard going into Liverpool city centre when half of the city hate you.
Yeah, but that's what a balaclava can do for you. No, sorry, mate. Touching on the Eddie Howe thing, right? So, Eddie Howe, Sam Allardyce, right? Talking about underrated managers, that's why I'm going to go on this point now. I'm baffled by the lack of respect Allardyce gets, I'm like so baffled by it. I don't get it. I've never understood it. I don't know where it comes from.
I think it's just become one of them jokes because he's saved so many clubs from relegation or been brought in to try and save them. It's become that sort of he's been pigeonholed as that type of guy that just comes in to save clubs. So it's like any club that's struggling, it's get big salmon. Yeah. And that's just where the jokes come from, innit?
But this is the thing. So when did coming in and saving a club become a bad thing? So that's an amazing thing. If you're that, so you're telling me you wouldn't go and get Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp, but you go and get Sam Allardyce, because if Sam Allardyce, right, had what Guardiola's got, had what Jurgen Klopp's got, I know he's not as good as a manager. I'm not even saying that for a minute, but you're not only as good as the players you've got in front of you.
Yeah.
To get results, right. I'm not a believer in this let's give manager of the year to Guardiola because he's won the league. No, give it to someone give it to De Zerbi, give it to Eddie Howe, give it to Unai Emery.
Yeah.
I could Gary O'Neill at Bournemouth. There's loads of managers who are working with restricted, under difficult circumstances. If you can get a team of
to play,
average players to play and to get results, you are a top manager.
Yeah.
Now, Allardyce, it's almost like he gets laughed at. Like Sam Allardyce. Even looking at his first couple of games at Leeds, mate, I know they've got a game against West Ham, whatever, at the weekend, but I just go, where does that reputation come from?
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, mate, because he's managed every club in the Premier League and saved every club in the Premier League, but I think he went down with, was it Watford or West Brom? One of them. I think it was West Brom.
Yeah.
Allardyce is a top manager. He's a top man manager, right? He does know the game inside out. I don't get it. I think it's almost like the lie that people believe, because so many people have said it. It's become like a gif now, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. It's become a bit of a joke, but the reality is he has saved a lot of teams, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Going back to Everton, I really hope that they do stay up because, it's great for our city.
Great for my
And I want to see them. I want to see them get to play in that new stadium because it looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's boss. You know what, mate? There's obviously with me, there's a bit of a thing that, obviously with being a big Liverpool fan, I'm sounding like Harry Kane. I keep going, obviously. There's a wouldn't say it's a myth because I'm a Liverpool fan, so it is funny at times when Everton get beaten. I'm sure Everton fans find it funny when Liverpool get beat.
I always say it to every Evertonian that I meet in the street. It's funny because I get loads of stick on social media. Listen, of course I do. And I'm that's the way it works. If I'm putting a skit up of Sean Dyche or whoever, of course I'm going to get grief off the Evertonians. No issue with it whatsoever. I totally get it. And a lot of it's funny. And true. About the size of my head, particularly. And that's just my wife. But no, but if Liverpool were in the same position, I'd be taking the mick out of Liverpool.
Yeah.
I would, 100%, mate. I would. And we did. Brendan Rodgers when he was there, Rafa when he was there, Gerrard, Carragher. Liverpool I've been quite fortunate, obviously Liverpool doing so well. But the Everton thing, mate, it's no good for Everton to be in the Championship. It's no good. Now, I know a lot of Liverpool fans will go, oh, yeah, all right, whatever. No, it's no good. I think that you've got like probably a small portion of Liverpool fans in this city that actually really want to see Everton go down. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, I'd say, the majority of Scousers.
They don't believe me when I say it to them, though, the Evertonians. No. They don't believe. They think I'm just telling them because when I always bump into the Evertonians. It's funny, mate, because I've never met. They're all sound. It just shows you how fake social media is. Brothers and sisters
in the same household supporting Liverpool and Everton.
Yeah, of course.
You're not going to want the team to go down. There's a bit of banter, isn't there?
There's too many people. A bit of a laugh, you've just nailed it, mate. There's too many people that I love, friends, not family, but friends, yeah, who I go, well, you know what? It wouldn't they'd be devastated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you go, no. Listen, I don't mind Everton being struggling because it is. I'm a Liverpool fan. As I said, Everton fans would find the same thing if Liverpool was struggling. But I don't want Everton competing.
Do you know that season though
when
Liverpool and Everton were flying? I say no, the Roberto Martinez.
Yeah.
That season there was an amazing sort of atmosphere around the city, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was boss, mate.
Both sides were absolutely buzzing.
It was boss.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, that's what, I don't know how many years ago that was now. How long ago was
2000, that? I reckon it was about 2014, 2015. It was when we nearly won the league.
Yeah.
So Martinez come in for Moyes, didn't he, about 2013. And you know what? I mean, to be fair, I think most Evertonians would probably say it. Martinez has probably not been treated unfairly because I think that his last season, people always remember the end. Doesn't matter who you are. Houllier, Rafa Benitez, people always seem to go, when he tried to get rid of Alonso and get Gareth Barry, forget about Istanbul, 12 Champions League finals, unbelievable team that we had. And it's the same with Everton. It's like people will always remember the end and not go, the first 3 years when we were, 5th and 6th and playing great football, beating Man United 4-0, people seem to forget very quickly because it always ends in tears. Doesn't matter who you are unless you're Fergie, Guardiola. I even worry that that'll happen with Klopp. And the reason that I say that is not because Klopp's an unbelievable football manager, amazing. But I just don't know whether Liverpool can compete with Man City. Honestly.
Yeah. I think Liverpool will get back to being obviously
See, I've got no doubt about that, mate, right? This is what I'm saying. Liverpool, I know for a fact, they've done it that many times. They'll come again, if you know what I mean. They've had a great finish to the season or whatever, and you can just see certain things touch on Trent in a minute as well, mate, because that position or whatever now, my God. But I just got, it's because of City. The worry is City, not Liverpool. Liverpool will get better. Liverpool will add, gutted about the Bellingham things, don't get me wrong, but Liverpool will bring in, good players, I think, that will make us better. But I just don't know whether we can compete at that level. When you think about like one defeat or two bad results in the whole season, City have won the league. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
It's not like you've got to have the perfect season. I know we can, but just touching on Trent Alexander-Arnold, mate, that position.
Unbelievable.
Oh, how good's he?
It's like having he's obviously an unbelievable player anyway going forward. I know he's had his problems with defensively.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like, we had conversations about it, didn't we? And we're like, just move him into midfield.
Yeah.
And just get a right back.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I thought that he must have looked at him, or Klopp must have looked at him in training and gone, can't play there. Or, because I think he done it for England for an half and he didn't look comfortable there, but that's because Southgate's a pragmatist, doesn't really play expansive football, so it's never going to work.
Yeah.
But under Jurgen Klopp, I was not baffled by it, but I just thought he must have tested it out in training or in
But he used to play in that position, didn't he? I think for the youth team.
Yeah, when he was younger, yeah.
And it's just, you just can't take his passing. His passing is probably, I'd say his passing is the best.
I've never seen honestly, you know, I mean, David Beckham made a career out of it, mate. David Beckham's football ability was...
But that was more to do with his undies, wasn't it? And his,
golden balls. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Beckham brand Becks, but you look at, like, even when we had, like, Xabi Alonso, when you had someone like who just, it was like art. Even Gerrard at times, brilliant, you know, the way... But do you know what it is, mate, right?
It's the effortlessness, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Flip-flops.
It's just literally he doesn't even look. He just pings a ball without even looking, and it's just to the foot.
You can't do nothing about it. You know what it is, mate, right? There's players in the world, you know, your Zidanes or we could name loads of players. They see a pass that no one else on the planet can see. He plays these passes, right? And I go, how's he played that pass?
And it's the first time as well. A lot of the time.
There's that much space, the ball's that big, and somehow the ball...
But a lot of the time, it's like someone will pass the ball to him. He's already got the pass in mind. He'll just spread it, you know what I mean, to the left wing.
Mate, honestly.
Like 60 yards or something. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, the reason that, like, you think to yourself, well, do you know what? I mean, Liverpool, it's still going to be very strong if he's in that position, because the difference he has made playing in that position. It's a bit weird the way Konate's got to, like, almost...
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah, it's working.
Played about 4 or 5 games. Even going back to Klopp, mate, right? Think about managers. You know, if Klopp ever leaves Liverpool, do you reckon he'd ever work in the Prem again for another team? The connection, right? With, you know, the connection with the fans and with the clubs.
Yeah.
He's almost like a brand
But
now.
But you'd say that about Rafa.
Would you put Rafa in the same boat, though?
Well, I mean in terms of, like, how much he was loved by the fans and how much he loved Liverpool as a city and how much he loved, you know, Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah.
You never would have thought he'd have gone to Everton, would you? That's like...
I thought he would. You know, when he got linked with it, I just thought he'll just do what he wants. I was never like... I think other managers would probably think about it, but I just think Benitez...
obviously he wanted to be back in Liverpool. I do get it, but that's a big one, isn't it? I mean... Obviously, it turned out that he was working behind the scenes for Liverpool and trying to take it down.
Yeah. So and you know what? He nearly succeeded. But you know what was so funny about them sketches, mate? I know the Evertonians will be like, well, there was nothing funny about it. But do you know what's so funny about them sketches? I wasn't writing them. They were writing themselves. Yeah. Seriously, right? I got to a point... And I remember speaking to some fella on the train ages ago going to London, and he said to me, the funny thing is about what you're doing now, everything you're saying is happening.
Yeah.
You're saying it's actually happening.
It was one of them where, like, it was where the fans started to hate him that much.
Yeah.
It was almost like he was sort of...
He's very stubborn though, mate. Benitez.
He's very stubborn, but it was almost like he was sort of like shrugging it off as, okay,
he could have played it better. I'm not being funny. Say, for instance, like, say Everton got Brendan Rodgers, right? He'd get them fans on side like that. They'd all be like, I don't want an ex-Liverpool manager, but he'd sort PR, front of camera, Everton, People's Club, blah, blah, blah. He'd have them on board, but he just didn't do any of that. He just went in. He would have done a great job. If he wouldn't have managed Liverpool, he'd have been a great appointment for Everton. And no doubt about it, he would have been. He was working under difficult circumstances as well. It was never going to work. He went in and he was just kind of like, and then, some of his decisions and that Rondon.
I tell you what, though, another one that was funny was when he was when he went to Chelsea and how much the fans hated him there. Wins the European Cup and then they still hate him.
I know. Do you know what, mate? He's a device. Simon Jordan always goes on about him on TalkSport and says he's a divisive character. And that's why he can't get no work, because, you know, he does fall out. He fell out with the owners at Liverpool, rightly so, by the way.
Yeah.
That's why the fans loved him. That's why the Newcastle fans loved him, because he was political. He went in, probably went to Mike Ashley, mates with him, and then after 3 months was like, Mike Ashley's a knobhead, and gets all the fans on board. That's, you know what I mean? So he's very political. He couldn't do that at Chelsea. Hated him straight away, because Everton and Chelsea fans hated Rafa Benitez. Why? Because he was massively successful at a club that they despise. That's what it boils down to. Like, I think to myself, as a Liverpool fan, if we ever got, say like Roberto Martinez got the Liverpool job, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Carlo Ancelotti.
Wouldn't have a problem with that.
David Moyes.
I'd have a massive problem with that. But what I mean is, though, just because of the style of football.
Yeah.
So Everton fans, I think, I don't necessarily think they had a massive problem with Rafa Benitez it wasn't always the Liverpool stuff. I think it was because he's quite a pragmatic manager. It's quite dull, Rafa's football, I'll be dead honest with you. But it worked for us at the time because we were phenomenal in Europe. He had the players, the Gerrards, the Alonsos, Mascherano's. Jimmy Traore's. He won the Champions League.
Unbelievable. When you look at that squad,
yeah,
it's just unbelievable.
Well,
how to get a team playing football. He'd done it, didn't he? You know, we're saying about like what managers can actually, get. It's not about the top managers with the top players. It's about top managers with basic players.
That's why he's such a legend at Liverpool. You see, because we were not a very good team we weren't.
Oh, made wrong. We had Carragher, we had Gerrard.
Probably in terms of decent players, we had Jamie Carragher, Didi Hamann, Steven Gerrard. The team that won the Champions League, let's go back. I'll name a couple of players that played in the build-up to that Champions League win, right? Jimmy Traore, Hossamy, do you even know who he is?
Yeah.
Antonio Nunes, Anthony Letalec, Florent Sinama-Pongolle.
Yeah.
Who else? Igor Biscan. These are players that have won the Champions League. You know what I mean? You've got to think about him. Neil Mellor played a massive part in it. Chris Kirkland, I think he played a part in it. All these lads have played a massive part in it. No disrespect to any of these players. It's just we won it. Rafa Benitez, that's why he's such a legend, because it's wow.
Against that AC Milan side.
Yeah. Milan Barros up front on his own with Harry Kewell behind him before he went off injured again after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I done the Istanbul reunion at the Echo Arena and he got injured that night. Before walking onto the stage. Right, anyway, mate, that's it. Thanks for joining me for the first FarleyTV podcast. This will always be remembered. You were a part of it.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I actually made it, to be honest, and I done that logo as well. So.
Yeah. Hey,
I played my part.
FarleyTV, though. Can we just stop making it about you?
Just sticking Fletcher underneath there. Remove podcast and just put Fletcher.
Thank you for coming on. Thanks for watching. Plenty more to come from the FarleyTV podcast. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks again, mate.